Aria Bennett had never been afraid of heat. In fact, she preferred it. She preferred the sharp inhale before confrontation, the electric tension before a launch, the burn in her chest when someone underestimated her. Heat meant movement. Heat meant life. And on the night she set everything on fire, metaphorically, professionally, almost spiritually, the room was glowing gold. The pop-up venue shimmered in candlelight and polished brass. Velvet draping framed the stage. White florals cascaded over curved archways. It was immersive, dramatic, indulgent. Everything Aria believed luxury should feel like. Her brand, Ember Society, was her rebellion made beautiful. 2 years earlier, she had walked away from the most sought-after event curator in the city, Victor Hale, after he told her she wasn't ready to lead.
"You're passionate."
He'd said, smoothing invisible dust from his cufflinks.
"But passion without control is chaos."
She had smiled, then she had left, and built something better. Tonight was Ember Society's largest launch yet, a ticketed luxury experience blending art, live music, and storytelling for women rebuilding after betrayal. The irony would have made her laugh had she known. Aria stood backstage in a structured crimson gown that hugged her like armor. Her dark curls were pinned high. Her lipstick was deliberate. Her pulse was steady. She didn't do halfway. Across the room, her best friend, Laura, floated through guests with a clipboard and champagne flute. Laura had been there the night Aria signed her first vendor contract. She had helped her pack boxes, negotiate rentals, pray over invoices. Laura had always said,
"When you win, we win."
Aria believed her. The music swelled, the lights dimmed. It was time. Aria stepped onto the stage, chin lifted, eyes bright.
"Welcome."
She began, voice rich and warm.
"Tonight is about rebuilding from ashes."
The audience leaned in. She spoke about resilience, about the power of women reclaiming their narratives, about how fire refines gold. The applause thundered. And then her phone vibrated. She ignored it, until it vibrated again and again. Backstage, her assistant looked pale.
"Aria,"
she whispered, holding up her phone. Coverage of Victor Hale was live, projected across the screen at another venue, one hosting a nearly identical event, was Victor, smiling into a crowd of influencers and press. Behind him was a banner, the Phoenix Collection, Aria's theme, her concept, her signature branding language. Her chest went cold. She watched the live stream as Victor praised his innovative rebirth experience, using phrasing she'd drafted months ago. And beside him, smiling for photos, was Laura. The room around Aria seemed to tilt. Laura. In a white blazer Aria had helped her pick out, holding a microphone, laughing beside the man Aria had once escaped. The betrayal didn't burn immediately. It hollowed. Her assistant whispered,
"They announced it yesterday. Media embargo lifted at 8. They've been planning for months."
Months. Aria remembered late nights when Laura claimed she had family stuff, missed meetings, half-hearted feedback. Victor hadn't stolen her concept. Laura had given it to him. The audience was still clapping. Aria stepped back to the microphone. She could feel it now, the fire rising. Her pulse thudded in her ears. Her vision sharpened. Her pride, wounded and furious, demanded blood. So she did what Aries women do best. She charged. She signaled the AV team.
"Patch the live stream."
Within seconds, Victor's face filled the screen behind her. The audience murmured. Aria smiled. Not sweetly, but sharply.
"It seems,"
she said evenly.
"that imitation is alive and well tonight."
Gasps rippled through the room. She called him out, publicly, by name. She described the months of creative labor, the concept documents, the private brainstorming sessions. And then she said Laura's name. The crowd stiffened, phones lifted,
You built your empire on silencing women,
Arya directed her message at Victor, voice rising.
and now you've recruited one to help you do it again.
It was raw, it was unscripted, it was honest, and it was viral within minutes. By the time she stepped off stage, hashtags were trending locally. Clips of her speech flooded social media. People loved Fire, but investors did not. By morning, her inbox was split in two. Half applauded her bravery, half warned that she'd just made herself difficult. Her primary venue partner called to reassess future collaborations. A brand sponsor paused their contract pending legal clarity. Victor's legal team issued a statement denying everything. Laura texted once.
You didn't have to humiliate me.
Arya stared at the message for a long time. Humiliate, as if betrayal deserved privacy. She didn't respond. Instead, she doubled down. She posted receipts, screenshots, timeline drafts, old emails, each post sharper than the last. Her followers grew, her partnerships shrank. Within 3 weeks, Ember Society's next 3 venues withdrew. One investor asked gently,
Could you have handled it more strategically?
strategically. Arya wanted to scream. Why was the burden of strategy always placed on the betrayed? But alone in her apartment one night, heels kicked off, makeup smeared, silence heavy, the question lingered. She replayed the night, the thrill of calling them out, the applause, the rush, and then the fallout. Victor had made a career out of calm cruelty. She had responded with visible fury, and the world, predictably, had labeled her unstable. She hated that it mattered, but it did. 2 months later, Ember Society was bleeding, not dead, but fragile. Arya sat across from her mentor, not Victor, but an older woman named Delilah who had built her own empire quietly. Delilah stirred her tea thoughtfully.
You were right.
Delilah said. Arya blinked.
Right?
Yes. They betrayed you.
Relief flickered.
But
Delilah continued.
you fought on their battlefield.
Arya frowned.
You let them decide the terrain. Public spectacle, emotional eruption. It felt powerful, didn't it?
Arya's throat tightened.
Yes.
Delilah nodded gently.
Fire is powerful, but uncontrolled fire burns the house you're trying to build.
Silence settled between them.
You don't need to be quieter.
Delilah said.
You need to be precise.
Precise. The word landed differently, not smaller, sharper. For the first time, Arya considered that her strength wasn't the explosion. It was the ignition, and ignition could be directed. Over the next weeks, she stopped posting, stopped reacting, stopped explaining. Instead, she called a lawyer. She gathered documentation. She discovered something interesting. Victor had reused contract language. Too similar, too specific. Laura had forwarded proprietary decks from her personal email. Careless, confident. Arya didn't announce her findings. She filed, quietly. At the same time, she reimagined Ember Society. No more open collaborations without airtight agreements. No more blind trust dressed as loyalty. No more emotional access without boundaries. She launched a new campaign months later. No drama, no subtweets, just elegance, just clarity, just power. The event theme? Controlled burn. The marketing copy read, "Some fires destroy, others refine." The difference is intention. The night of the launch, the lighting was softer. The staging, more intentional. The guest list curated. No live streaming rivals, no reactionary speeches. When Arya stepped on stage, she wore white, not armor, not red. White silk.
I learned something this year.
She began calmly.
Not about betrayal. I've always known betrayal exists.
The room was silent.
I learned that power is not proven in how loudly you fight back. It's proven in what survives after the smoke clears.
There was no rage in her voice, only steadiness.
And what survives?
She said softly.
is me.
Applause rose slowly, then fully, not thunderous, not chaotic, grounded. After the event, her lawyer called. Victor had agreed to settle financial compensation, public clarification of original concept ownership. Laura's name wasn't in the statement. Aria chose that. Not mercy, closure. Months later, she ran into Laura at a coffee shop. Laura looked thinner, tired.
They dropped me.
Laura admitted quietly.
After everything.
Aria studied her. The old version of her would have burned her with words. Instead, she simply said,
You chose wrong.
Laura nodded, eyes wet.
I thought he could take us higher.
Aria exhaled.
He was never building us.
Just himself. They didn't hug. They didn't reconcile. Not every ending required flames. Some required boundaries. As Aria walked out into the afternoon sun, she felt something unfamiliar. Not anger, not triumph. Clarity. Victor had once told her passion without control was chaos. He'd been wrong about her readiness, but not entirely wrong about control. Fire was her strength, but now it answered to her, and that changed everything.